I'm Brian Malow, and we're coming live from Lindau, Germany, a beautiful little medieval island on Lake Constance in southern Germany, in Bavaria, in fact. And we just had a Bavarian evening because a lot of this meeting isn't just science lectures, it's social stuff. So we just had a really fun Bavarian evening with some Bavarian music and dancers and Bavarian food. And also, on the Bavarian evening, this has been a tradition in this 74th year of this meeting to ask the young scientists that attend if they would like to dress up in clothes that reflect their own cultures. So a lot of the staff here is wearing Bavarian clothes. And I'm speaking to one of the 600 young scientists here this year, Fernanda del Cid Hernández. And you're from Guatemala,
Yes, I am.
and you chose to wear something reflective of that.
Yeah, what I'm wearing, it's like the typical up part of the dress, like the national dressing, and this is hand woven, so it's very heavy but very traditional. It's very colorful, as you can see, and it's really comfortable. I really love the style and the colors that come from Mayan culture. That is the one that lives in Guatemala. Yeah.
And it might be a little small to see on a tiny video, but you got a little Guatemalan flag.
Yeah, it's over here. You can see it.
Excellent. So this year's a chemistry meeting, and are you a chemist?
Yep, I am. I just
What
finished my
kind
degree.
of? You just finished your degree, 4 years?
Yeah, 4 years, and I just finished my bachelor degree yet. So I'm a chemist.
So you're a
full
chemist,
Yeah.
and you're from Guatemala, and you're working in Guatemala, but you just
Yeah.
came from working in Spain, also.
Yeah, actually, I did a little internship, like research internship in Valencia, where I work a little bit with what nanoparticles are. You know, I developed a nanomaterial that it's an adsorbent for contaminants in water, and it was made from shrimp shell waste.
What waste?
Shrimp shell waste.
Okay.
Yeah, so we had like this problem that the industry had a lot of waste that they didn't know what to do. So we grabbed that waste, we took out chitosan, which is one of the main components of the shells, and we functionalized it and added a magnetic center, and that was my thesis.
Excellent. So is this like this? Uh, does this relate to one of the themes of the meeting, like the circular chemistry, the making use of waste so that it's more efficient and less wasteful? Is that qualify as that circular chemistry?
Exactly. And today, for example, we had the panel for the linear to circular, how chemistry can play a role in it, and it was actually very interesting to know about like the viewpoints of all of the laureates and the participants of it about how we can take things that right now are seen as a waste that don't have really a purpose yet, and to actually use chemistry to transform them into something new that can bring like something nice. Like for example, I grabbed waste from shrimp, yeah, that you just throw them in the trash when you eat them, but it was used to remove pollutants from water. So something that seems so common, like a shrimp, becomes something so amazing, like this technology that can help, like remove something that we need in water.
Yeah, shrimp shells. That's one of those hard things to say.
Yeah, shrimp shell.
Shells are not only seem like waste, but they're very annoying when you're trying to eat shrimp. So, did you always know you wanted to be a scientist and in particular a chemist?
Well, not really. Like, I'm someone who not only does science but does art. So I had this two-sided pathway. I always knew I loved to learn, I love to discover, and I always wanted to know how life works, how the world works, how everything functions around us in the world. But I also love to see the perspective of different things in the world that you put in art, for example. So I was actually a little bit like confused about whether going to science, and I was not going to be a chemist at first. I was going to be actually a doctor. I wanted to do medicine and graphical design and art. But at the end, I found out the joy of like what chemistry was actually. When I was in high school, I had this teacher that was really passionate about chemistry. And she approached me once and she was like, you have this, I see this talent in you that you love it. Like you're always excelling in your exams and so, but you also want to learn more. So here are these papers, here are these topics. Maybe you are interested in knowing them. So she actually was the one who pushed me to do a little bit more research on how chemistry could be actually a career path. And by the last grade on high school, I actually decided, I want to learn about the world. I want to learn about how these tiny, tiny atoms transform into the living organisms we see, like the complexity of life itself. So yeah, that's what I wanted to do. So I decided
Excellent.
to go to be a chemist.
Yeah, and I got to interview the Nobel laureate Ben Feringa today, and I was very excited because at the opening ceremony he said something about his interest in the origin of life, and I've always been fascinated about how physics became chemistry in a way that we sort of understand, but chemistry becomes life in a way that we don't understand. And what a bizarre and fascinating thing.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It's really crazy if you actually think about it. Like you have these tiny, tiny things, like I said, like the atoms, that are arranged in ways that they function by itself. Then they become this like little systems, and then suddenly you have a human being, you have an animal, you have something as amazing as a tree. So that's always been something really fascinating for me. I want to understand and learn about how that works.
Yeah.
You
So
know?
you really love science.
I really do.
Is there anything else you can say about why chemistry, what you like about it? Or maybe you just did say that, but um, is there anything that you wish more people understood about science?
I really wish people will understand how fascinating it actually is. Because, for example, I have had the chance to share with high schoolers a little bit back in my country about what chemistry is and that they have this path. Chemistry exists as a path rule. And most of them are actually scared by chemistry. They are like, no, is that's something that only smart people do. Like, you have all these numbers, you have all these rules, all these things that you need to like memorize. And I'm like, not really. Chemistry is a little bit more about the fun of it, like the idea of knowing new things or to find things that we still don't understand. It's more than just the numbers, it's more than just the papers. It's about understanding the world that we live in and to actually learn how to take care of it, for example, and to love it, how it is.
For me, chemistry is about the fun of being an A student but getting a C in organic chemistry.
Oh, that was
Because
me.
I knew by then I didn't really want to be pre-med. But you mentioned having some teachers, some mentors that were inspiring and formative for you. And this meeting is about mentorship.
Yes.
So let's talk about this. It's the 74th Lindau Nobel Laureate Meeting, and it's almost over. We have a really fun day tomorrow, but only one scientific program, a fun panel discussion. I'm sure it'll be, I shouldn't say fun, interesting panel discussion. But how's it been for you? What are your impressions of the meeting? What are some of your highlights?
Well, it's been such an experience. Like, there's not even a word for it. It's been fantastic. It's the first time I actually attend an event of this magnitude, of this importance. Like, I was excited at first because I was like, okay, the Nobel laureates, that's like top tier scientists. And I come from this little country. I'm still not that known because I'm just a bachelor. And I was a little bit, to admit it, I was a little bit scared, you know? And I came here, I was a little bit like, oh, what if they don't really see what I do? They don't not really interested about it. But these laureates, they are so kind, they are so open, and they are people that we can learn a lot from. They are really one of the best people I've ever known because they're actually passionate about sharing their love on chemistry, their love in science to us, the young scientists. And all the talks have been a highlight, learning from them. Principally, the open exchanges, where we actually get to like talk more directly to the laureates and asking them not only about the science they do, but how they manage their personal life, their values, who they admire. Like seeing that personal and depth level in some of what I think are the most admirable people in chemistry.
Yeah.
You know, that has been my highlight. Like, not only seeing how great they are and what they are, but how great they are as people. And have become actually someone that I also admire more, you know? And they have been just amazing. I think that's the highlight of my evening. Yeah.
So maybe, do you have any message for young scientists or someone who might want to become a young scientist or maybe even apply to come to this meeting?
Well, for someone who wants to be a young scientist in general, I think that my best advice is to have courage. You know, chemistry might seem really daunting because of how much it encompasses. Chemistry is in everything, you know? But because of that, it's also something so fascinating and fun to do because you get to do a lot of things. You cannot just stay in just the math or just the talks or just the papers, you know. I have met people who are writers in chemistry. I met people like you who make chemistry and other sciences so fun, you know? So being having this courage to actually pursue something that may seem scary at first and just doing it because you want to learn, like the joy of knowledge, like has been said in this meeting so many times, is just something that fulfills you so much in your soul that I really hope that more young scientists, not just like principally from countries like mine who think maybe science might not be that kind of a path, like might be a little bit daunting for them, know that it's actually something so rewarding, so fascinating to see and to learn
Yeah.
about.
Well,
And everybody can, actually. Everybody has the power to actually be a chemist, to be a scientist in whichever field they want to do. Because we need scientists. We need scientists to reshape the world that we live in, the way that we live in, to have a better future, not only for us, but for the next generations to come.
well, that's a really beautiful point that we could end on. And it's just another example of, it's called the Lindau Nobel Laureate Meeting. And sometimes there seems like a lot of focus on the Nobel laureates. But in truth, this meeting is about the young scientists. It's about mentoring the next generation. And it turns out that the ones that have been through the very tough selection process to get here, 600 scientists from more than 80 countries and so many more applicants than that. And it's always fun for me to come here because they're so inspirational, and especially, so many of them, the young scientists have to be under 35 years old. Some of them are early stage scientists, postdocs, PhD students. But I've met a young graduate, undergraduate who just finished his freshman year, and you're just a bachelor student, just starting graduate school,
Yeah.
or you're working in industry, right?
Yeah, I am also.
Yeah, doing what? So are you gonna, do you, does that mean you'll be doing research, but in industry instead of academia?
Yeah, like, but not, it's not like my plan for the future. Like, I am right now working at the industry because, you know, the problem with us young scientists in countries that tend to be underrepresented is that we have the problem of financing ourselves through it. You know, there's not that much support from governments. There's not that much support for science in general. So, for example, I have student loans at the end of the day for when I studied in college. So I decided to pursue a career in the industry to help a little bit my family to repay for what they helped me through college. So right now what I'm doing at the industry is not really what I work, for example, in my thesis with the nanoparticles. What I do right now is a little bit of petrochemical work. We work degrading plastics for the production of fuels, and it's interesting, you know, because what I graduated in and what I did, it's completely different to what I'm doing at the industry. And I think that's the beauty of chemistry, you know, that you can do everything, because at the end of the day, like I said, chemistry is in everything. You can do whatever you want and you will excel on it because you already got the basis for it. So yeah, it might seem like I'm doing really different stuff. For example, when I want to do my master in, it's in chemical biology. So that's another path that you can take also in chemistry. And even though it might be a little bit difficult, we are having these challenges, you know, I really want to pursue a career in academia right now. I really wish to keep doing research in the future, in the near future. But the industry is actually a pretty interesting area too. You know, you also have this idea that the industry is just like, I don't know, profit and so, but it can also be a way for a scientist to keep growing in what we do.
Yeah.
So it gives you more skills too.
You know, I a few hours ago interviewed Stanley Whittingham, the Nobel laureate, who is sometimes referred to as one of the founding fathers of the lithium batteries, which are in all of us probably have lithium batteries in our phones, in our devices, in our cars, everywhere. Yeah, and there's something very satisfying for him that the work he did is so practical. So that that's a result of industry that it ends up uh, being of such use to us because it's actually out there and being used. So it's not that bad to be doing this kind of science work in
No,
industry.
it's actually really nice because maybe it wasn't the path I really wanted to follow. It was something that like new to me. But yeah, already being in the industry, doing all these things and seeing the things you do grow out from the lab, like being produced and seeing the people actually using them and them having this impact outside of our labs, it's amazing because you are seeing the science, you know, that you decided to pursue to help solve other problems, actually helping those problems, you know?
Yes.
So that's really fascinating about industry. And I think that it always have to go hand in hand, you know? You have to have the academia doing the research and the industry also doing the research. So when they merge together, you actually get innovations that can be put out in the world, you know? Like lithium-ion batteries that we have them all around us, you know?
Yeah. Well, Fernanda, it's so nice talking to you. I don't want the party to end before you get to go back in. So thank you very much. One of the extraordinary young scientists here at the 74th Lindau Nobel Laureate Meeting. And that might be the last one for tonight. I feel like we've done enough interviews for today, but tomorrow we'll be on Mino Island, a completely different world, and we'll see what that brings. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Brian Malow with Fernanda del Cid Hernandez.
Yeah, you got it
Hernandez.
right.
I didn't, yes, a little better.
The Hernandez.